Horror movie recap creators always say that if your phone battery has a 4 in it, you are bound to scroll into a horror movie. Oh my God. This has got to be a total coincidence, right? But looking at it another way, congratulations for scrolling into this intense, restricted horror movie while your phone battery has a 4. The movie Home Security Camera starts off strong with a deeply disturbing video. Friendly warning: do not close your eyes. A woman records the final video of her life. She claims that she is being haunted by some kind of unclean entity. Right as she speaks, she seems to spot something terrifying, and her face fills with absolute horror. Right after that, her expression goes blank as she repeatedly chants an incantation. She is practically rapping, just like the female lead chanting in that Taiwanese horror movie, Incantation. And this creepy and bizarre video happens to fall into the hands of our female lead, an insurance claims adjuster named Sung-Hee. The police tell Sung-Hee that she fell to her death. As for her, she passed away. But while checking her phone, they find this creepy video. Now Sung-Hee is watching the video when suddenly the woman's mother bursts in. She claims her daughter absolutely did not pass away, but was taken by an entity. Sung-Hee does not think much of it, assuming the mother is just trying to commit insurance fraud. However, what happens next makes Sung-Hee believe the mother is telling the truth. To get away from her deceitful husband, Sung-Hee takes her daughter and moves into an apartment. A strange neighbor named Shaman lives downstairs. This person is overly enthusiastic, visiting them on their very first night to introduce himself. He chatters on and on, even bringing a gift. The excessive enthusiasm makes Sung-Hee a bit uncomfortable. After thanking him, she hurriedly closes the door. The next day, Sung-Hee goes to a housekeeping agency to hire a maid for her home. On one hand, it is to watch the child, and on the other hand, it is to prevent Surim from coming over to see their daughter and keep her out of the house, which is the main purpose. This means that most of the time, the daughter stays at home studying. Tan is from out of town and is quite young. She also has a younger sister who is severely ill. Seeing that her situation is just as difficult as her own, Sung-Hee hires her as the maid. Even so, Sung-Hee still worries a bit about her daughter. So she buys a bunch of security cameras and installs them in every room. These cameras can record audio and allow real-time conversation. When night falls, an idle Sung-Hee starts watching the unfinished video, which is the clip recorded by the woman before she fell to her death. Sung-Hee is quite brave because when the woman starts chanting the incantation, she specifically turns up the volume. Without her realizing it, her daughter suddenly appears. Sung-Hee quickly shuts her laptop because this content is inappropriate for minors, and she cannot let her daughter see it. Right after she gets her daughter to bed, the security camera starts moving on its own. The next day, while at work, Sung-Hee checks the live feed and finds the maid lying on the floor in her daughter's room, tapping on the floorboards. This leaves Sung-Hee completely confused, so she decides to go back and question her. Coincidentally, today is also her daughter's 8th birthday. When she gets home, Sung-Hee asks the maid what she was listening to on the floor. The maid answers that a strange tapping sound often comes from the downstairs neighbor's place. Meanwhile, Sung-Hee is perplexed. She does not think much of it, figuring that maybe the neighbor is into music. After that, Sung-Hee celebrates her daughter's birthday. Before blowing out the candles, Sung-Hee asks her daughter to make a wish. Right at that moment, something strange happens. However, it does not stop there. Just as Sung-Hee goes to get a gift for her daughter, she turns around and gets terrified. Her daughter starts scarfing down food like she is starving, stuffing cake with her left hand and dishes with her right hand. Right at that moment, the doorbell rings. It is a delivery person, but Sung-Hee is confused because she did not order anything. When she receives the package and checks it, she finds a pair of shoes sent by the girl's father. At this moment, Ji-woo cannot contain her excitement and quickly asks if it is from her dad. But when she opens the shoebox, strangely, the size of the shoes does not look like something an 8-year-old girl would wear. Later on, while Sung-hee is doing laundry, she suddenly hears a notification from the camera stating that something is moving in her daughter's room. Sung-hee wonders why it is so late and her daughter is still not asleep, so she picks up her phone to check. This kid acts so startled, and ever since this night, she behaves like a completely different person. By the next day, she also starts tapping on the floor. When her mother asks what she is doing, she does not respond, acting as if she does not even hear her. What is even creepier is that during the brief moment she goes to the restroom, she checks the camera and gets totally terrified. Another woman suddenly appears inside the house, wearing white clothes with a visible scar or her face. Sung-hee quickly calls the maid to ask if someone has entered the house. The maid says no, claiming it is just her and Ji-woo, and tells her to check the camera if she does not believe it. Sung-hee wonders if she is just hallucinating. After getting home, she lies on the floor of her daughter's room to hear what the sound is. The others listen to it every day, but they do it during the day, so why can she hear it at night? Afterward, Sung-hee prepares to go to bed. But right then, the camera alerts her again, stating that it detects movement outside. Sung-hee quickly checks her phone, but there is absolutely nothing. Still feeling uneasy, she grabs a pair of scissors and heads out anyway. She first goes to her daughter's room, opens the door, and finds her daughter just sitting there, doing who knows what. Sung-hee walks closer to take a look, and oh my god, the little girl is playing with makeup, and her lips are smeared bright red. She asks her where she got the lipstick, and her daughter replies that the maid gave it to her. Sung-hee asks her to hand it over, but Ji-woo refuses and even talks back to her mother. Is this a rebellious phase or what? Seeing her mother take the lipstick and prepare to leave, Ji-woo directly curses her out. The mother stops instantly and asks her who taught her those words. As she speaks, Ji-woo grabs Sung-hee's hand, trying to snatch the lipstick back, and even bites her. At the same time, Sung-hee slaps Ji-woo hard across the face. But the creepy thing is, after getting slapped, Ji-woo does not cry, but instead smiles triumphantly. The next morning, Sung-hee finds Ji-woo and apologizes to her, admitting she was way too impulsive. But strangely, Ji-woo seems to have no memory of what happened last night. A moment later, the doorbell rings. Tan arrives at work. Sung-hee scolds Tan. First, she tells Tan not to give lipstick to the child. This makes her mature too early. She also tells her to dress appropriately and modestly. Both of those points are fine. What confuses Tan the most is that Sung-hee insists the woman she saw yesterday is Tan's younger sister. After returning to work, Sung-hee checks the video recorded by the daughter again. The series of bizarre things that happen all start after she watches the daughter's video that night. So Sung-hee somewhat suspects that the woman does not just pass away. Her mother might be telling the truth. While watching the video, Sung-hee discovers a line of Tibetan writing on the wall. To find out what the Tibetan writing means, Sung-hee goes directly to the crime scene. She finds the daughter's mother. The two of them have a brief chat. Their family situations are pretty much the same, as both are single-parent families. As for the daughter, but ever since the woman returns from her trip, she becomes like a completely different person. Out of worry, the woman's mother also installs security cameras at home. As they speak, Sung-hee takes out the photograph to ask her what that Tibetan text means. After seeing the photo, the mother acts extremely terrified, snatches the photo, and tears it to shreds. At the same time, she also hallucinates, seeing the deceased woman whose mouth keeps rapping non-stop. After snapping out of it, she kicks Sung-hee out. Sung-hee is left completely bewildered. Before she can even process it, an even worse thing happens. She pulls out her phone to check the security feed, but when she looks, she gets totally terrified. The woman in white clothes appears again. She holds a knife and enters Ji-woo's room. As for Tan, she seems completely oblivious. This makes Sung-hee so anxious that she rushes straight home. After searching for a long time, she still cannot find the woman in white clothes. Sung-hee completely loses her cool. She tells Ji-woo to go inside first because she has a few words to say to the maid. Sung-hee still firmly believes that the woman in white clothes was brought in by the maid, thinking that the maid is playing mind games with her by letting the person in right on cue. No matter how the maid explains, Sung-hee does not believe her and fires her on the spot. She settles her pay and tells her not to come back tomorrow. The maid is completely unable to clear her name. Not long after the maid leaves, strange things happen again as the lights suddenly go out. At the same time, the woman in white clothes shows up and approaches Sung-hee inch by inch. Fortunately, it is just a nightmare. The next morning, Sung-hee hires another maid, who is an old lady. This old lady is really down on her luck, because out of all the families she could work for, she just has to come to this house. After briefly explaining her requirements, Sung-hee then goes to work. Her manager finds Sung-hee and asks what she thinks about the dead woman's case. She says it is a bit fishy, but the manager smiles and asks if she actually believes that ridiculous rumor about the woman being taken by an entity. As they chat, a nearby television broadcasts a news report stating that the former maid fell to her death. When she heads home after work, Sung-hee runs into her husband. He wants to see their daughter, but Sung-hee tells him to get lost, calling him a scumbag and telling him to get as far away as possible. When night falls, while Sung-hee is sleeping, she suddenly hears her daughter seemingly talking to someone. But when she enters the room, there is no one else inside, just her daughter, all by herself. Sung-hee asks her daughter who she is talking to. This completely terrifies Sung-hee, who quickly brings her daughter into her own bedroom. When she picks up her phone to check the security camera again, she discovers that the woman is following them once more. The entity even starts knocking on her bedroom door. At the same time, Ji-woo develops a severe headache, and right after that, her voice echoes from outside. Sung-hee checks her phone. But wait a minute, if the one knocking outside is Ji-woo, then who is this person she just brought inside? Fortunately, it is just a hallucination. When she opens the door, Ji-woo says she cannot sleep. Just then, a loud racket starts up downstairs again. Sung-hee goes straight downstairs to confront them. Once inside, she realizes this neighbor is not as simple as he looks. His home is filled with spiritual statues and talismans. With things coming to this point, he reveals his true identity. He is a shaman priest. The reason they always hear noises is because he is performing rituals. Shaman tells Sung-hee that an unclean entity has entered her home. He explains that on their first night, he stood outside her door, peeking in like a total creep. Sung-hee explains the entire backstory to Shaman. Upon hearing this, Shaman looks deeply concerned. He understands instantly that the unclean entity is the one that killed the woman. But why does it come to their house? It is because when she plays the video that night, the woman is chanting, and Ji-woo secretly sneaks up behind her to copy it. This is like willingly opening the door for the evil spirit, allowing it to find a new host. Hearing this, Sung-hee panics and wonders what to do. Shaman offers a solution, suggesting that she must kill her daughter while the evil spirit possesses her body. Sung-hee cannot bring herself to kill her own daughter, so she asks Shaman if there is any other way. Shaman tells her to take some talismans he will draw and paste them around her house, then bring back the dead woman's photo so he can burn it. Sung-hee then goes to the deceased woman's house to get the photograph. She knocks for a long time, but nobody answers, only to find out that the door is unlocked when she pushes it. Inside, it is pitch black, and as she walks further in, she is terrified to find that the girl's mother has already passed away. After retrieving the photograph and burning it, Sung-hee enjoys a period of peace. But the good times do not last long, as Sung-hee spots a creepy scene on the security camera. The old lady is dragged away by some mysterious force. By the time Sung-hee rushes home, the front door is surrounded by police because the old lady is gone, though fortunately, her daughter is fine. It seems the situation is not completely resolved yet, so she has no choice but to invite Shaman over again. Shaman goes all out this time, stating that he will perform an exorcism tonight to confront the evil spirit head-on. He also warns Sung-hee not to interfere no matter what happens, otherwise it will fail. After that, the exorcism begins. It lasts for quite a while with clanging gongs and beating drums, and in the end, the exorcism is a success. But does the story really end just like that? The next morning, the police call her. The police ask Sung-hee to come over because her husband files a complaint against her for not letting him see his own daughter. According to Article 1086 of the Civil Code, after a divorce, both the father and the mother have the right to visit the child. Next, another question from the police completely stumps Sung-hee, which is why she has not applied for an identity card for Ji-woo since she is already an adult. Sung-hee protests that this cannot be right because her daughter is only 8 years old. The police ask her what year she thinks it is and tell her to look at the calendar. At this very moment, a long-buried memory instantly floods back to her. Back in 2015, the year Ji-woo is 8 years old, she catches her husband cheating. She gets out of the car to confront him, but right after she steps out, an out-of-control car crashes right into them. The collision sparks a fire, and her daughter gets badly burned, and seeing her disfigured child, Sung-hee cannot accept reality. She forcefully traps Jiwoo in the identity of an 8-year-old child. That explains why Sung-hee keeps seeing a woman in white clothes from time to time, as that is actually 18-year-old Jiwoo. As for the deaths of those 2 maids, they are also caused by the evil spirit. Now, she remembers everything. Sung-hee feels sorry for Jiwoo and immediately decides to go home. But when she gets home, she is completely terrified to see that Jiwoo kills her own father. And honestly, he deserves it, because if her deceitful father doesn't cause all this trouble, Jiwoo wouldn't get into a car accident. To help Jiwoo clear her name, Sung-hee turns off most of the cameras, leaving only one pointed directly at herself. Then, Sung-hee takes a knife and points it at Surum's neck. She begins to fake video evidence that she is the one who kills Surum. After completing everything, she points the knife at her own neck, preparing to end her life. She wants the police to believe that she kills Surum and then takes her own life out of guilt. This is the ultimate and most complete sacrifice she makes as a mother to protect her daughter. At the same time, it is also a self-redemption for this 10-year obsession, making up for all her shortcomings toward her daughter. This is where the movie ends. To sum it up in one sentence, everything is the fault of deception.